Presentation before. It's going to be some repeat in the past, but this is our presentation on frauds that we see in the area or scams that are out there. We've also updated with the newer things that we've seen in the community. So we're going to jump right in. If you have stories you want to add, anything like that, things that have happened to you, I always think it's good to share that with your fellow community here. So the different ones we're going to cover, we'll see if this works, but we're going to cover phishing scams, IRS scams, warrant for arrest, a family member in distress, utility scams, and if we get it to work, I'll show you some examples of like IA scams, not IA, AI scams, artificial intelligence. I was thinking police department stuff. IA is internal affairs, see? My brain's always thinking the police department side. But no, we'll go a little bit into artificial intelligence. So, phishing scams are typically fraudulent emails, and they come from what looks like a legitimate source. Maybe it'll come from Verizon or Xfinity, something like that, and it'll have different headings on it. It might say that your account's been hacked, that you owe money, that they're going to terminate service, something like that. It usually sounds very urgent. They want you to take some type of action very quickly or want you to click on a link. And those are the two ways they get you. And this is going to kind of be a repetitive theme here. They want you to click on some link to go to it, or they want you to call them and usually give you some type of account information or money. So what else do we have? Yeah, you got a little bit of that? Yeah.
Just so you know, these email scams are getting better and better. I do a fraud presentation, so I know a lot about the current scams and stuff, and I even had one at work just last week where a company that we deal with, a person that I deal with, an email came across, said something about, here's your payment receipt. I wasn't expecting that, so that was my first little red flag. I checked the email address for what the person came. It was their email address. The end of the email had all the information like their emails normally end. But after looking into it, that company actually got hacked, and it was a fraudulent email. So just all the stuff that we're going to teach you about, like all the little things to check. Like an email could say it's from Mike Shouty, Randolph Place. Anyone can make that say that on the email, but if you scroll over, it'll actually tell you the real email address, which usually is like a bunch of letters, numbers. So that's one sign to look for. This one was legitimate. And then one other time I was dealing with Cablevision. We all deal with Cablevision, I'm sure, around here for the most part. And the next day I got an email from Cablevision, oh, you could get HBO for free if you click on this link. And luckily I did not click on it, ended up finding out that it was another fraudulent email. And it looked very legit, even to me. I mean, these emails are just getting more and more sophisticated. So you just got to be careful. Really, if you're not expecting something, like I wasn't expecting that payment receipt, that should be a red flag to you that it's probably going to be a fraudulent email.
So how do you avoid these things? The course of action, what I do is I don't click on anything from an email. I either call the company myself or I go to the company's website, which is usually what I do. Let's say in his situation, what company did you say you deal with for internet?
Cablevision.
All right, so he deals with Cablevision. I would go directly to their website, log into my account, and then see what offers they had there. And I do that type of stuff. I do almost all my banking. I do almost everything online and haven't thankfully been hacked or had any issues like that. But I definitely have a policy of not responding to any emails, not clicking on any links in emails. Same thing with phone calls. These companies don't just call you out of the blue. You're not going to get a call from Verizon or any of them. So I take care of my business through my account. These companies are too big to be calling people one at a time, right? They're not going to do that. They're not going to reach out to you one at a time. If you log into your account, if you do business that way with them, you'll be able to see if there's a message for you, if any action needs to be taken, if you're past due on some type of payment. They're not very quick to shut off your service. They want to keep you around and keep you paying. So for these, don't click on anything. You can definitely hover over the email address, who it's from, to see if it's from a different website than you'd expect. You can look it up. But the truth is, when it comes down to it, you know if you've entered a contest. You know if you're related to somebody. who was a prince in whatever country, and whether or not you're going to inherit money. These things in your life shouldn't be a surprise. There shouldn't be some long-lost relative that's going to be that just passed away, and you need to pay the taxes on the money, and then you can collect the rest. So keep that in mind. It's that common sense that's going to keep you safe. If it sounds too good to be true, if you didn't enter anything, you're not going to get anything. At the bottom there, nobody gives money away for free. It doesn't happen, right? So it applies for this as well. And unfortunately, in other countries, this is treated as a business. They have full floors taken up with workers, clocking in and clocking out every day. They have, employees that sit there and go through this, and they even call the people like us who are on the receiving end of the scam to call us clients. They view this as a business, and they make millions of dollars every day placing these phone calls, sending these emails, responding to people who click on the links. So just kind of keep that in mind. So emails is a very, very common thing. We all get them on a regular basis. So I'd be very skeptical about any emails you receive, and just use extra caution. Go to the actual website or call them yourself, not from the phone number in the email, but from the phone number either on your bill or from their website. We kind of add in here that spelling and grammar is usually bad. You can block the email address if you want to stop receiving it. I do that a lot, just so if I start to get something more than once, I block it. I block phone calls on my phone, just to try to reduce a little bit the number of calls and emails I get. But I think, as we all know, I get several calls every single day from somebody that I've never called, and it's usually a recorded voice that comes through. You can report it to the FTC. It's not something that like the Randolph Police Department can go and investigate and find out where the email is from. People use VPNs, they send stuff all over the place, and we don't know where the email is actually coming from, and the chance of them actually committing this crime in Randolph is very small. This is what the IRS says regarding scams. They may demand money, or may say you have a refund due and try to trick you into sharing private information. These con artists can sound convincing when they call. They may know a lot about you, and they usually alter the caller ID, meaning that it can come up on your cell phone as like the FBI or the IRS's actual number. So if you look at it and then you go into Google, it will appear as the same number, but that's not actually where they're calling from. They're just altering the phone number, which they can do very easily over an app, and that's what appears on your phone. So just kind of keep that in mind. They use fake names and bogus IRS identification badge numbers. If you don't answer, sometimes they'll leave you a message and make it sound very urgent. They could threaten a warrant for your arrest, say that the police are going to come for you. All these kind of things can happen. They may say you owe money, and usually, again, it's that urgency. They're going to demand payment immediately. They're not going to want you to hang up the phone. Many times they'll say the state police are coming to your house and will want to place you under arrest. So this is what the IRS says on their website. The IRS does not call and demand immediate payment, nor will they call and talk about taxes without you first receiving notification after notification, right? They have a system in place. They don't reach out to people and say, pay us now, or we're sending the police to your house. They don't demand that you pay taxes without giving you the opportunity to appeal and kind of appeal the amount you owe and give you time to look over everything. They don't require that you use a specific payment to pay for your taxes. A lot of these phone calls, they require you to go to like a CVS or an Acme and get a prepaid debit card, and you put the money on it, and that's how you pay, because they can't get the money back. I've only heard of 2 successful. I've had one in my 18 years where, for whatever reason, the scammer didn't take the money right out, and the company was actually able to get it back. And then another officer I know in town was just able to stop $30,000 from being taken. But it happens all the time, and I'd say 99% of the time, we can't stop it. Once they get it, they take it out, and the company has no more control over it. If you get a phone call of somebody claiming to be from the IRS or asking for money, this is what they say. They say, you know if you owe taxes or if you didn't pay your taxes. You and your accountant can look into that. You can reach out to them. You can call the IRS yourself and go over your specific account to see if anything needs to be done. Finally, you can always report this, right? If you're getting calls, you can let them know. You can reach out to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, and their number and website is there online. It's not something you have to do. So let's say I get the call. Do I go and report it to the police or file it every time? No, honestly I don't, because I've received so many calls and fraudulent emails that I know it's a scam, and usually I delete it or block the number and kind of go on with my day there. Now, another scam that we have is like the FBI scam, and this is pretty similar again. It's that whole saying that there's going to be a warrant out for your arrest. This one actually happened to my sister, and I happened to walk into her house when she was on the phone with them. She was distraught. She thought that the police were coming for her for a warrant for her arrest, and she's like one of the most innocent people you could know. And I'm there telling her, the FBI doesn't call you. They just show up. If they're really coming for you, they just show up. They don't say, hey, we're on our way over. That's not the way they conduct business. They don't want you to run away, so they do it different, right? So even in her situation, I had to convince her, and then I took the phone from her and said, hi, this is Sergeant Rispoli with the Randolph Police, and they hung right up. All right, that was the end of that. They wanted to go on to the next person and not waste any time. So the caller will identify themselves as an FBI agent. Again, the phone number might show up as the FBI's actual number. There's going to be this urgency. They're going to demand payment for either unpaid taxes or an outstanding warrant. They're going to threaten to arrest you. The phone number, again, might show up for his caller ID. And that's just not the way they conduct business, right? They don't do it that way. Go to the next slide. So this is from the FBI's website. The public's reminded that the FBI does not call private citizens threatening arrest or requesting money, and to never give out unsolicited requests for information to callers that you don't know. Individuals receiving such calls can file a complaint through the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. It's the ic3.gov website. So you can file those complaints. Again, I did it initially when I received a couple of them, and then honestly, many times I've just hung up on the phone call because I knew what it was right away and went on with my day. Unfortunately, we received so many of these, it's hard to keep up with filing and trying to stop each and every one of them. Just always be suspicious about calls you receive. Never give any personal information to anyone you don't know, and trust your instincts. If it's an unknown caller and they make you feel uncomfortable, the IRS, they're not going to be aggressive over the phone. The FBI is not going to be aggressive over the phone. Even we don't call people when there's a warrant out for somebody's arrest. We go over and knock on their door because we want to see if they're home. We're not going to threaten anybody. That's not the way the government conducts business, right? Honestly, if you didn't pay your taxes, they have their own system to get their money, and it's not going to be by threatening you over the phone, right? So another scam that we have is a family member in distress. Has anybody had this one here? I've had this one too, and this is one, we've taken many reports of this. Oh, it was there, but it's still here. So a family member in distress is when they call, and they'll either do one of two things. They'll have already looked up your information on Facebook or something like that, and they'll know your family members' names, and they'll try to pretend to be one of those people. Or a common one that we've had is they'll just say, Grandma, is it you? And then that person who answers the phone might say, is this Billy? Is this Johnny? Whoever it is. And oh yes, it is. And then they start talking. I was in Mexico and I got in a crash. And then, oh, I didn't know you were going to Mexico. And this builds. Yeah, no, don't hang up. I only get one phone call and I knew you'd answer the phone, so I called you. And I need $600 right now or they're gonna send me away and I'll never get another call. That type of thing. Again, it's this urgency. You have to act now. You can't hang up. You can't think about it. You don't have time for that. That's the position they want to put you in, and that's where we say to you to kind of step back, slow things down, and hey, you know what, I'm going to call your mom or your dad and look into this. I didn't know you were going here. And once they realize you're willing to get off the phone, they will most likely hang up right away and go on to the next person. So yeah, they're going to try to put that urgency. Anything I missed with this one? No, they'll know your names. Again, the common ones we've seen are the warrant for arrest or a car crash, usually outside of the country. So what do? Don't give your personal information out to them. Don't pay or give them any money over the phone. I would say call a family member related to who they're saying they are and look into it from there. Say, okay, I'll call your mom and let her know about this. And then you call your daughter or son, whoever it is, and say, is Johnny in Mexico right now? No, he's here. Okay, well, I just received a call. It was a scam, that kind of thing. Yeah. All right, so this is another one that's changed a little bit recently. And originally, we've heard of a scam, and I wouldn't say we've had it here, but people going door to door where they would knock on the front door. Oh, we're here with the utility company. Can you show me, where the power comes into your house or this or that? And when they get the owner outside of the house, they sneak in. We didn't have any reports, or I should say somebody else sneaks in. But we didn't have those reports here. We have had a kind of an uptick in a different one. If you go to the next slide. Yeah, so the ones that we've been getting recently, I don't know if it's the HDMI cable or not, but it doesn't seem to like this. But it's ultimately, it's a call or an email stating that your power is going to be shut off immediately. Follows similar to the cable or the phone. They threaten that if you don't pay right away, that it's going to be shut off. They're forceful, and they put a sense of urgency in you to take care of this right away, and they won't want you to get off the phone. The reports we've taken in town, they'll stay on the phone with you while you drive to CVS to get a debit card, something like that. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's giving a hard time. Yeah, it's having such a hard time with this. All right, so the other one that we've gotten, and I tried to have a picture here, but this isn't the best display, unfortunately, is text messages. This is a new common way for like UPS. Has anybody gotten one of these? Saying, yeah, I've gotten a whole bunch recently, and then if you went back a year ago, I didn't have any of these. And it's a text message. It looks like it's coming from UPS, and it says your package could not be delivered, or your package is late, and that it hasn't come. And ultimately, what it seems to lead to is they want you, your package has a portion of it that's unpaid shipping fees. And if you pay these fees, your package will be delivered. My family orders almost everything, right? We don't go to the stores as often anymore. We now order things from Amazon, and it feels like I know the UPS driver personally, right? He's stopping by every single day with something new. So sometimes when I see this, I'm wondering, is this actually real? Truth is, I go onto my Amazon account, I check my email to see if I have something that would show that, okay, I have a package that is outstanding that I'm waiting for. Again, don't click on these links. They could have a virus that is going to be installed into your phone. They could take you to a fake site that looks like a UPS site. And now all of a sudden you have to enter information, you try to log on, and now, it's not working. Now enter your birthday, now enter your address, and you start giving away more and more personal information that you don't want to give away. So the alternative is if you respond, that a lot of times somebody else will respond back, and now you're going to start communicating with a scammer, and the driver's out now, we want to get you this package, but we just need this payment. and they're going to try to get you to give either credit card information or pay in some way. But that is definitely one of the new ones. This one we just took a report of a week and a half ago, I want to say, and I hadn't heard of this one before, but it's a jury duty scam. Has anybody else experienced this? We literally just took a report in town a week and a half ago. So it's a phone call or email, and in this case it was a phone call that we had in town, but that you missed jury duty, and now there's a warrant out for your arrest. Again, it's that urgency, right? Everything ties back to making you want to act right away, like you don't have time. They want you to pay immediately, and they'll be able to provide you with a picture of the warrant. So in our case, the person called, they said you had to act right away. While they were on the phone, they sent over a picture of the warrant for the persons, right? So I'm Matt Rispoli. The warrant said Matt Rispoli on it. But when the officer looked into it a little bit better, you could see they just kind of clipped pictures from all over the internet and pieced it together to make up a fake warrant. It didn't actually make any sense at all, and obviously the officer was able to tell that there was no real warrant out for the person. But they'll be able to back up kind of their scam with more information that makes it seem more real. In some situation, it's names of people, it's a phone number that really is the FBI website phone number, or it's something like this, they'll be able to back it up with a picture of a warrant with your actual name and address on it. And unfortunately, all that information's out there for them to get. So it makes you believe, like, I didn't believe it at first, but now it seems like this could be legitimate. So again, you know if you received a letter or anything saying you had to go to jury duty. And if you're uncertain, call the court that they're saying, right? If you stop, slow things down, and you call that court, hey, I received this. Is this real? Did I have jury duty? Because I never got the initial notice. They'll walk you through, they'll look up everything, and it'll make it much easier for you than trying to deal with the person on the phone. It's that slowing things down that really helps out. I don't think this will work very well because of our screen, but we'll try. So basically, artificial intelligence, everybody's heard about it. I'm sure it's been in the news quite a bit. And the technology is only growing. One of the news people that I follow says this is as bad as the technology is going to be. It's only going to get better from here, and it's only going to get easier for people. So with like a short 2-minute audio clip, which we all have videos on Facebook of ourselves and our family members, they can make anybody's voice say anything they wanted to say. So now you could get a phone call from somebody who sounds exactly like somebody you know. Alternatively, they can also do that with video. So if they have enough pictures and video of you, they can make a video and have it do or say what they wanted to say. And then we're going to try to play this. But obviously Frank Sinatra didn't sing Bohemian Rhapsody. And there's songs of, you know, Joe Biden singing songs and stuff like that. Yeah. There's mashups of Donald Trump and Joe Biden singing songs together. You know, and sometimes the voice is really, really good. It really sounds like that person. Oh, nah. Yeah. Increased that much in this time. I mean, I think of it from a law enforcement perspective, how much that changes things for us, right? When somebody comes in and says, let's say high school students say, look at this person made a video about me, or look at this person said this in a video and shows us. It might get to a point where we have to question the video, where at least in my time as a police officer, if I had a video of somebody doing or saying something, there wasn't a doubt that that was, right, that person. If you could see clearly and it was their face, you knew, okay, no, this was a legitimate video of somebody robbing or stealing or doing whatever they did or said. Now, this definitely causes you to question a little bit more. Is this really this person's voice? Is this really that? So now if they start combining these scams, you think about like the grandparent scam, where they call and say they're a family member. If they have your grandson's or your daughter's or whoever's audio clip, let's say 15 seconds of it from Facebook, and now they're calling and typing in what they want that voice to say, it's going to sound pretty much like your family member, and that's where it could be a little confusing. So again, use that common sense and question, well, why would this person need money? What's the urgency? And really look into everything. If you feel uncomfortable, that should be a huge red flag. Like, this doesn't seem right. And trust in that. Trust your instincts. You know, you guys have seen and done a lot, and I would kind of go back to those for safety. And if you're not sure, hang up, call back, right? You call your son or daughter yourself, and you can ask those questions, or call us and ask us. We've had many people, we've even had a bank in town call us to say, somebody's here and they're trying to take out $100,000, and we know it's a scam. And thankfully, we were able to convince them, but they believed, you know, in their heart that they had to get this money and send it to their grandson or granddaughter or whoever it was in that case. But it's a hard situation for the bank, right? They can't stop you from taking out your own money. It's a hard situation for us, too, sometimes when we're trying to convince people this whole thing was a scam. I've had people who were threatened to be sent back, and that was the person who actually got the money. They were threatened to be deported or sent back to India, where they were from, and they were here on a student visa, and they paid $600, and that was a lot of money for them. It was very difficult, and they didn't think, well, I just got scammed, and thankfully in that situation I was able to get the money back, but usually that's not the case, so just slow the situation down. The last one that I'll kind of cover is more and more restaurants have these QR codes out, where you hold your phone up and a website comes up and you click on it, it takes you right to the website. 9 times out of 10, it's great. It takes you to their menu and you can scroll through their menu on your phone and you're good to go. What we've heard about from time to time, I wouldn't say we've had any reports here in town, is that people will they'll replace that sign with a different QR code that takes you to a different website that then either starts installing a virus on your phone or tries to get some of your personal information, has you enter your name, address, whatever it is. So just be a little wary anytime you see these. Make sure you trust where you're going. And if it does start requesting information, kind of keep that in mind. So if you've been scammed, what do? If you've lost money, if you've given up personal information, it's definitely a good idea to contact the police department. We can take a report for you. If you've given money away through like a debit card or anything like that, that's very hard to get back, and it usually doesn't happen. Good chances are that the money's gone. If you think, let's say a lot of situations, people start giving the information away, personal information, but didn't give any money away. And then when it gets to the time to give money away, they get hesitant and usually end the call, and now they're concerned, well, what if this person's opening up credit cards in my name? What are they using my personal information for? If it gets to that point, you can check with your credit bureaus, your credit history, and see if there's any accounts that have been opened up. You can also put your account on what's called a fraud alert, and these companies will stop it. You don't have to pay a third-party company. You can actually do this directly through the credit bureaus themselves, and they'll stop people from opening up new accounts without you approving it first. So it's always good to do that from time to time, and you can check your credit history or credit report. I want to say once a year completely for free, and just make sure that there's nothing out there that you weren't aware of. And if there is, you can reach out to the company yourself, right, and have it closed. I always do this to him.
Just basically these scams are always going to change. While we're here talking to you, telling about the scams we're seeing, they're brainstorming new scams to come up with. And if we're doing a slideshow next year, we're going to probably have new scams on there to talk about that we can't even think of right now. But the stuff the sergeant talked about, there's always red flags. Like, there's always that urgency. They want you to think fast. They're trying to scare you. So whenever you have something like a situation like that, just kind of slow things down and realize something's not right here. The steps we've talked about, they'll send those fake links or the phone numbers. Just go into the legitimate site. Go through Amazon or sign into JCP&L, whatever company is through the normal website. Don't go through whatever link they send you or through the email. Caller ID is great. If I don't recognize a phone number, I don't pick up. If I see my boss is calling me, I don't pick up. It's awesome. But all kidding aside, though, if the caller ID can be confusing. When I call people from the police department, a lot of people says it actually shows up as a spam call on their phone. If they don't pick up, I leave a voicemail. I identify myself. I give them my name, from the Randolph Police Department. Here's the number to call me back. So scammers aren't going to do that. They're not going to leave you a voice message or anything. They're just going to call to the next person. So my best advice is, if you don't recognize the phone number, don't pick it up. They'll leave a message if it's important. In any kind of website or anything like that, just check through look up the legitimate phone number. Oh yeah, so somebody here actually showed us a letter they got with a check. Again, like we talked about up here, no one's giving out money. You're going to get these fraudulent things. It even says on the back of the paper, confidential, because they don't want you to tell anybody. They just want you to, try to call this number. They're going to walk you through some kind of scam. So anytime you get like a check for thousands of dollars that you're not expecting, that's a red flag. No one's just giving money out. So again, I would just shred it, throw it out, and just keep going on with your day.
Are there any, the pizza's showing up, so it's actually a great time for us to finish up, but are there any scams that you guys want to share with anybody here?
I just want to say everybody watch their bank accounts.
Sure.
Things like Venmo. I had somebody come and take $2,500 out of my Venmo account. The only reason that I got it back was I called the bank and said, I don't have a Venmo account. So they had to be responsible. They didn't get that money back, but they had to pay me for it because they didn't have it and put it through.
So if you didn't hear, one of the residents here she was watching her bank account and noticed $2,500 disappeared and said it went to Venmo. Well, she doesn't even have a Venmo account. In that situation, the money went missing, but thankfully we're protected. And a lot of times with the credit cards and with your banks, you're going to be covered if money's taken out and you didn't just send it to somebody yourself. So in this case, she wasn't responsible, and the bank, I'm sure, lost the $2,500 because they sent it off to somebody else.